Selling your stuff and the wicked capital gains tax. Remember when George Carlin, now this might be before a lot of my listeners' time, but many of us are selling our stuff and downsizing. George Carlin did a comedic routine that was hilarious, and it was literally called Stuff. His whole shtick is based on the fact that we have all this stuff in our lives, and we buy a house simply to keep our stuff in one place. Another line that he says, then we buy a bigger house to keep more of our stuff. And many of us are now downsizing. If you're in your 60s, or perhaps you're just choosing to live a different lifestyle, you're tired of owning property. Maybe you're selling rental property. Maybe you're selling a vacation rental or your primary residence. All of these real estate transactions, when sold, are going to become a wicked capital gains tax. I am sharing my own experience with you all because it's painful. I was absolutely shocked to learn what the IRS sent to me and what New York State sent to me, because after owning this property for 22 years, none of my CPAs nor the accountants, although I always worked with CPAs, none of them guided me in reducing the capital gains tax or even knowing that I was going to get slammed. That's why I'm doing this, especially for women who may be single now, or perhaps you've invested in real estate the way I did. You really need to find a tax expert 3 years before you're selling. I will make just a couple of suggestions that I've learned from Sheree White, who is my tax expert. Yes, she can prepare my taxes also, which we're going to have to redo, evidently, in order to claim as many deductions as possible, because truly nothing was done with my last CPA/accountant. 2 tips that I have. You only have evidently 3 years of deductions in which to use against your capital gains tax. But remember that if you're going to make any kind of home improvements, rental property improvements, vacation improvements, do it within the next 3 years of you selling the property. Also, keep copious records. Now, obviously, if you're doing your taxes every year, you're going to have really good records. I have really good records. So hopefully when we get down to addressing officially the IRS and New York State, this crazy capital gains tax is going to be, I hope, cut in half, or I'd love for it to disappear, but obviously it's not. Now, I bought my property at an absolute song. And I sold it for a huge price. However, that was the debt against it, the mortgage debt. Now, if my CPA had really been someone like Sheree White, where we would have conversed about this, I made this stupid assumption, and I never make assumptions, that my debt of $857,000 in mortgage payments would be, that's what was the outstanding debt, would come against the capital gains. Not so, Einstein. This is why you need a tax expert. And I am sharing with you my tax expert, Sheree White, because she also works with expats. Now, an expat is someone who has moved to a foreign country and lives there now. And that may very well be in my future if I don't go to jail first. I'm only kidding. Sheree will keep me from jail from the IRS. But I share with you folks that it's really important, if you are the holder of real estate and you're going to sell it, you will have a capital gains tax. Of course, if it's at a loss, different story. But check out Sheree White, because she really, really knows her stuff. She knows that it's going to take a few months to get this rectified with the IRS and with New York State. But luckily, I do have all my records. I've done all my taxes. We just have to go back and yes, address these issues so that we can lower this capital gains tax. Going into Kundalini Yoga, I have been practicing a new Kriya. It's done with an orange. Yeah, the fruit orange. It's very unusual. You can't do it without the orange. It's called abundance because I need some abundance working with stupid IRS and this capital gains. It's a really short and calming Kriya, but it really is recognizing your abundance. Abundance can absolutely come in luck. It can absolutely come through miracles. It can come in your absolute belief that while this looks like a bad situation, it's not going to hurt me. When I first opened this envelope by the IRS, I kind of had a heart attack. But I quickly thought, well, I'm just going to make a lot of money this year. I really believe that because, I have to. But actually, I have a really good business, so I know it's all going to come to fruition. And I have a really good tax expert now, Sheree White. So truly practice this Kriya called abundance, recognizing your abundance, because some amazing things have happened. I've only been doing this for about a week, and some very interesting abundance moments have been created in my life. So that link is on the podcast details. Lastly, I'm including Glen Elly wines from South Africa again because I am in absolute awe of Madame Lessen, because at 90 she has written a book about her wine journey. She is still very much involved in South Africa in the Stellenbosch region with this amazing vineyard called Glen Elly. She is famous for her renowned glass collection that dates back to, I think she might actually have some pieces that go to AD. Very, very old glass collection. She has about 3 levels of different wines that they produce. Glen Elly is one of her famous lines, so to speak. She has 2 other lines that are, I would say, almost beginner type of wines. They don't stay in the barrel so long. They're not maybe what we would call collector items, where the Glen Elly collection, very, very beautiful and stunning and very hands-on produced wines. She has another level as her glass collection. That's another level. That's what her beginning level of wines are. That's going to be covered for a little bit in my podcast because I want people to learn about her special South African wines. Totally amazing. To reiterate, if you are in the clutches of the IRS, really get a tax expert. Your CPA is not going to be, it's going to be rare if they're an IRS enrolled agent. And that simply means that Sheree is qualified to talk to the IRS about, she's qualified to represent you and talk to the IRS specifically on your behalf, meaning you don't have to talk to them. She will, and she's worth her weight in gold for doing this because I have tried talking to the IRS. So remember that you could only go back 3 years. There may be situations where that is stretched to another year or 2. However, keep copious records. Just remember, if you're thinking about selling your property, you have a 3-year window of getting all those deductions, getting your paperwork done correctly also so you don't get slammed like I am. Practice this Kriya. It's probably 11 minutes, maybe 18 minutes, which is quick. It's an early morning routine. I do it. Yes, you will increase your abundance. Even that means paying the IRS. Lastly, seek out the glass collection, the Glen Elly collection from the Glen Elly vineyards. They are stunning wines. They're super affordable. I don't think Americans give South African wines, the good ones, enough quaffing time. I'm Valerie Hale. I create this podcast once a week. It is a DIY, do-it-yourself, self-help podcast. I also teach classes for public speaking to help you manage your anxiety and fear when you have to make business presentations or your elevator pitch. Included in my details is my free class. It is my signature class, one and done. You can study this on yourself, by yourself. If you want to delve into another class with me, please use my contact information. I'm here to help. Merci et au revoir.